Welcome to Wide World of News. I'm Mark Halperin. We're here today with voters from around the country, 4 who voted for Joe Biden, 4 who voted for Donald Trump. Welcome, one and all. I want to ask you about what's going on in Washington, D.C. Lots of discussion about cooperation versus gridlock. So I want to first talk about gridlock. Who would you say, go around and get a name from all of you, one by one, who would you say is most responsible for the inability of the parties in Washington to seem to find legislative compromise, at least so far, during Joe Biden's presidency? Diane.
Nancy Pelosi.
Okay. Rob.
Mitch McConnell.
Ed.
I'd go with Mitch, too.
Okay. Elizabeth.
Pelosi.
Mark.
McConnell.
Joan.
McConnell.
Jess.
Pelosi.
Okay. Sam.
McConnell.
Okay. Not one of you said Joe Biden. So let me ask you, Ed, you chose a Republican. I think you're the only one who crossed the aisle here. Why do you think Mitch McConnell is more responsible than Joe Biden?
I think because Mitch McConnell had opportunities prior to make a lot of these things happen that we're still talking about.
True.
Yeah,
He's
I
part
mean,
of the problem.
immigration, abortion rights, gun rights. How long are we going to have these issues? I think they want these issues.
Let's talk about Mitch McConnell. I want to go around and ask you all one or two words. Tell me what you think of Mitch McConnell. One or two words. Rob.
Deadly.
Deadly. Ed.
Time's up.
Sam.
Gridlock.
Jess.
Compromised.
Joan.
Uncompromising.
Mark.
Powerful and territorial.
Elizabeth.
Term limits.
Yes.
Diane.
Rat.
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 Right. Raise your hand if you have a generally negative view of Mitch McConnell as opposed to a positive view. Raise your hand.
I have a generally negative view for most politicians.
All right. Joan, you don't have a generally negative view of him?
No, I think he is who he is, and he's doing his job. And I think, any good, experienced representative of the position he has should be doing what he's doing. I don't like it, but I understand it.
I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I think we found America's only Democrat with not a negative view of Mitch McConnell. That's great.
Right?
I'm more of an independent in reality.
Okay. Raise your hand if you have a generally positive view of Nancy Pelosi. All right, 3 of you do. Raise your hand if you have a generally positive view of Chuck Schumer. 2 of you. Okay, 2.5 of you. Diane, tell me what role you think Chuck Schumer is playing now in Washington.
Oh, I think he's just trying to get a power grab. I mean, the guy doesn't even make sense on half the things that he says. He just wants to push things through, and he just wants to have power, in my opinion.
Diane, describe Chuck Schumer in a couple words.
Oh, power hungry?
Power hungry. Sam, Chuck Schumer in a couple words.
Wanting.
Ed.
And swampy.
Swampy. Okay. Mark.
Majority. Opportunistic.
Elizabeth.
Unethical and relentless.
Rob.
Good.
Largely ineffective.
Okay. Jess.
All of the above.
Okay. Joan.
Utilizing opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go around and ask y'all if there was someone who's in Washington now who you'd like to see have more power and influence over what's going on. Who would you pick? More power and influence. Mark.
Even though she's not in Washington, Stacey Abrams.
Okay. Ed.
I would say Ron DeSantis.
Okay. Joan.
Stacey Abrams sounds good to me.
Okay. Diane.
Governor Ron DeSantis.
Okay. Sam.
I can't wait to see what the future holds for Pete Buttigieg.
Okay. Elizabeth.
I like DeSantis too.
Okay. Jess.
DeSantis.
Okay. And Rob.
Ben Sass.
Ben says. All right. Almost every week, we've got people from all over the country who love Ron DeSantis, would like to see him play a bigger role. Raise your hand if you think Ron DeSantis will someday be president of the United States.
Oh. Maybe. How can you know that?
Yeah, I know that's a
Maybe.
tough.
You
one.
gotta guess.
I'll go with it. Yes.
Raise your hand if you've got an opinion about Ron DeSantis. Raise your hand. If you know enough about him to have an opinion.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Now, some of you who said you'd like to see him have more influence aren't raising your hand. So you must have some opinion about him.
Yeah, I do, of course.
Yeah. All right. Diane, what do you like about Ron DeSantis?
I like the fact that he didn't lock everybody down. You know, we live in a tourism state, and he gave the people the choice. If you were afraid and scared, you know, stay home. But he didn't, you know, he did the 2 weeks or the month, whatever we had. I do short-term rentals, and I'll tell you, my business was completely wiped out. So
Right.
I like the fact that he does that. He speaks around the state constantly, and he just seems like a down-to-earth leader that, you know, we need to have a little higher up after he does his governorship.
He knows how to manage the press. Too.
Yeah, and
What
he
I
does. He's not afraid of pushing back, and I like that.
And he's a boss. That's what we
Yes.
need. We need somebody
Exactly.
that's a leader, that's a boss,
And he's
that
Exactly.
straight shooter.
motivates me.
That's right. He's not
You
going
like
You know,
him
he's
'cause
proud
he
of America.
emulates
He's not a
Trump.
Joan, you live in Florida. What did you just say?
I said they like him because he emulates Trump. He's just taken that mantra. Now I know he doesn't, the rhetoric isn't there, and I definitely agree. He doesn't do that. But he takes those forceful positions, exactly the same positions that Trump has. I don't know anything where he doesn't have the same position as Trump.
I
maybe
100%
that's
agree.
how- maybe that's his
100%
own
agree.
thinking.
When you say forceful, Joe, what do you mean by forceful?
Of course, with COVID, where he took that forceful position that we're going to choose the economy over precaution. So he was taking that same Trump approach and
it
emulating
worked.
that, in that we're not going to shut things down because we don't
Right,
believe
because you
that
don't
that
want
is.
to
He took
destroy
the risk.
people's lives.
For the ones that like DeSantis, do you see him as being more genuine than some of the other politicians out there who try to amplify what you being a Trump Jr.?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, he
yes.
doesn't have the
I-
media to
Yeah.
cover for him if he makes a big mistake.
I think where he was going was, if you think about Cruz or Rubio or some of the other prominent politicians that seem to have altered their stances to be more like Trump,
Right.
how do you compare that to DeSantis?
To me, it seems like you guys kind of see through a lot of the politicians that are trying to get to where Trump is or was. You
Which
know,
isn't a
and you're-
politician. I think.
Well, let's face
That's
it,
the key
yeah.
thing.
it's a swamp.
They're all
There's no two
Well-
ways about it. It's a swamp up there. And it's really our job as the American people to start pushing back on that swamp. And we're the
Yes.
ones that have to stand up.
We got to go. I'll just note how much I enjoy when folks from Florida, like Diane, rail against swamps, because when I go to Florida, that's pretty much what I see. Thank you all for joining us. Really appreciate it. We'll see you again right here soon on Wide World of News.